How are we all this evening? I'm just going to open the chat box so you guys can reply to me so I know that you're all there and can hear me. Now, as much as I'd love to put the camera on, I'm in my pajamas, so I will remain with camera off. Okay, so if someone could just type in and let me know that you can hear me, that would be awesome. And then I'll get started. Yes, no. Hayden, if you can Facebook me even just to let me know you can hear me, that would be amazing. Let's get my PowerPoint up while I'm waiting. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So you guys can hear me. Amazing. So thank you so much for coming to Anthony's business launch this evening. So just like you would support a friend who opened a shop or a restaurant, we ask that you guys support him in his journey for better health and better wealth for his family. Now my slideshow seems to have disappeared from my screen and now it's back up again, which is great. Let me pull that out. Give me one moment. Okay. So before we get started, do you mind if I tell you a little bit about me so we're not strangers? So I'm going to get my lovely family up on the screen so you can see me and my family. Okay, so this is us. Okay, so I sit here talking to you as a healthy 27-year-old, but that hasn't always been the case. At the age of 19, I was hit by a drunk driver. It was a Friday night, and I was simply taking my brother to a birthday party with some of his mates. An intoxicated gentleman traveling about 90 kilometers an hour crashed my car and left me with chronic injury to my spine. Now, I was told that I should no longer be wearing high heels because of the inflammation in my body. So being a 19-year-old, that's pretty devastating when all you want to do is go out every weekend. I struggled to work because if I sat too long, my back hurt. If I stood too long, my back hurt. And to make matters worse, I couldn't sleep at night because my back hurt. Training at the gym meant I had extreme back pain, so it was very hard for me to, do everyday things. So to be completely honest with you, I didn't really appreciate my quality of health until it was taken away from me. Now, probably one of the biggest things that hit me after the accident was the fact that my spine was in such a bad shape that they told me they didn't think I'd be able to carry a baby. Now, any female out there that gets told that knows that that's absolutely devastating, especially considering how much I love and adore children. But if you look up in the top left-hand corner for me, that's actually our beautiful little son, Cruz. So after being on the supplements for 3 months, so your son has amazing supplements that my sister-in-law introduced me to, I actually started to feel a massive difference. So my pain, I think, decreased by about 95%, which is massive. I started to sleep. My energy increased, and I just started to feel overall a lot better because I suppose if you think about it, you can't do it on what everyone else is doing. So obviously I started to become a little bit down and flat and depressed because I was no longer felt like a normal 19-year-old. Now, a lot of us don't really think of, well, I know I definitely didn't think of this, but our bills are residual, right? So no matter what happens, our bills keep coming in. So with my accident, I couldn't work. So if I can't work, what income have I got coming in to pay for the bills that keep coming in? And that was something which I learnt, and something that became quite a big lesson for me because it's something I never thought about prior to what happened to me. So I've been doing this 2.5 years now. I used to work 70 hours a week in a job. I don't know if anyone else is working massive hours out there to making someone else rich, but I definitely was. And I realized I couldn't do that forever. So I started sharing and recommending these products that changed my life. And within 12 months, I'd replaced a full-time corporate income. which is pretty cool. So now I'm a stay-at-home mum. I have an international business. I absolutely love what I do. I love not having an alarm clock. I told Hayden the other night to guess where my alarm clock was, and it's unplugged, switched off, and hidden in my wardrobe because I don't use it. Where our bodies are meant to wake up when we're finished sleeping, not, to a loud beeping noise every single morning. So down the bottom there's a picture of me in Melbourne. I was actually fortunate enough in January to speak at the Melbourne Convention Centre, teaching others how they can build a business from home and how they can be successful working for themselves. Because let's be honest, no one wants to work for someone else for the rest of their life. You might enjoy your job now, but there's always going to be a day that you don't want to wake up to your alarm clock and that you don't want to go to work. So that's a little bit about me. So now I'm going to move on to the presentation and tell you a little bit about what Hayden and Anthony are up to. So guys, there's two challenges we're facing every day. That's health. So people are either working so hard that their health deteriorates, or wealth. So people are financially struggling. So people are working 9 to 5 or 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day to put food on the table. So their health deteriorates, or at the end of the day, they still can't make ends meet. Because the prices for everything are going up, but I'm not really noticing big pay increases. I guess there's also one other, and that's time. People spend so much time working that they don't actually enjoy life. I've never heard anyone on their deathbed say, I wish I made more money. But I have heard people say they regret not spending much time with their children or their families or their loved ones. Time is a big one. Time is actually my driving motivator. I was very fortunate. I grew up in a fortunate family, but my dad worked very long hours. He owned a crane company, and he would work sometimes up to 48 hours straight building Darling Harbour in Sydney. So Dad wasn't around a lot. Dad missed all our school shows, our sports carnivals, our school masses. Dad was never there. And I decided that I didn't want my son growing up with the same kind of life, because time is so precious. We can never get that back. So there are 4 quadrants which people normally fall into. So you've got our Gen Y, so people that are young, they normally bounce around from work to study to gym to partying, so they need lots and lots of energy. Then we've got young mums. So people like myself, really I'm concerned about the quality of food and nutrition that I'm giving my son. Families, so busy lifestyles. You've got one child over here, another one at, basketball practice. Then you've got family members that are calling on you as well. And baby boomers, so that's people like our parents. So they've spent their whole life working and they're now starting to suffer degenerative disease. For my family, I know that my dad, he's suffered arthritis, quite severe arthritis at that, and was told he'd be in a wheelchair if he didn't do something different. He's been on the supplements for 2.5 years like me, and he's now out jogging 5 days a week, 10 Ks a day. Now my dad is actually 73. He was a professional footballer, and for 6 years was actually in that much pain that he wasn't able to exercise at all. So that's a pretty cool story. My dad's one of my biggest successes. I love seeing Dad out and active and being able to do things which he couldn't do before, and the only thing we did different was pop him on the supplements. So this is today's health reality. So these are diseases that are Australia's biggest killers at the moment. So you got things like heart disease. Now the number in red next to it is actually how preventable this disease actually is. So heart disease being 85% preventable. Then we've got stroke, second biggest killer, 73% preventable. Dementia. Now a few years ago, dementia was number 19 biggest killer in Australia. Guess what, guys? It's now number 3, and it's 50% preventable. Diabetes, 95%. Colon cancer, 73%. Now, for diabetes, for example, has anyone got a friend that's like, you know what, my mum's got diabetes, so I'm going to get diabetes? Well, in actual fact, if we live the same lifestyle as our parents, we're more than likely going to get what they've got. If we don't live the same lifestyle as our parents, then it's more than likely that we won't have the same things. So my friend's always like, well, my dad's got diabetes, so I'm going to get it too. And I'm like, well, if you eat the same, don't exercise, You know, if you have the same routine as your dad, then yeah, you probably will. Most people don't realize that it's all lifestyle related. So did you know that only 5% of cancers are hereditary? That's right, only 5%. So that's nothing, right? The rest are lifestyle. When I saw that I found that pretty scary, because I'm like, wow, 1 in 2 people have cancer these days, and yet only 5% of it's hereditary. Wow. So then we've got here people asking, well, why? Why are these diseases happening? So we've got stress. Stress is probably one of the biggest ones. Do you know most people die between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. on a Monday morning due to a heart attack from stress? That's a fact, guys. Radiation. So if you wanted to log into Wi-Fi right now, I'm sure about 10 different options would pop up. That Wi-Fi is so bad. It's what's frying our brains. Pollution, toxins, chemicals. Pesticides is one of the biggest ones. Let's think about this. We're eating foods that are being sprayed by people that are covered in head to toe in protective gear. Yet we ingest that food. Yeah, we may wash it first, but the chemicals don't all come off. They're actually embedded in our food. Now we're ingesting that. Now what do you think's happening? We have chemicals in our body. It's causing disease. We've got poor diet. So it's much easier to drive through the golden arches, right, than stop and make a home-cooked meal. People are lacking time. And GMO foods. Our foods are genetically modified and tampered with. So here we've got healthy cells down the bottom. We're born with gorgeous healthy cells. After a stressful day or a fatty meal, our cells start to deteriorate and start to become damaged. Now, it isn't until we add like an antioxidant, so that's things like fruits and vegetables, that our cells actually start to repair. But let's be honest, guys, our soils are so depleted these days that there isn't all that much nutrients in there. I'm sure we've all seen a change in the way food is, the taste, the size. It's all really different. Like our soil doesn't contain any selenium anymore. Selenium is one of the biggest cancer fighters there is. So where are we getting that from? Can I ask you a question? Do you know how many vitamins and minerals we need a day to remain healthy? 59. 59 vitamins and minerals every single day to remain healthy. So I'm going to show you just one so you can understand how much we need these days with how our foods actually are. So I'm going to use vitamin E as an example. So vitamin E is good for the heart, the skin, the eyes. So let's look at spinach. You would need 72.6 cups of spinach a day. Yes, that's a day, just for one vitamin and mineral. So I don't think there's any Popeyes in the room. I like spinach, but I certainly couldn't eat that much and then have to eat enough food for another 58 vitamins. So what's the solution? Well, we all know that, you know, our health is sitting here, and where we need to be is not quite where we are. So there's a gap, and the bridge is supplementation. 70% of Gen Ys are now taking supplements, but the problem is most of them are falling far short of where they need to be. So if we look here, these are the supplements which we take and recommend. So there are USANA Essentials. So we've got about 18.5 oranges worth of vitamin C, so that's a lot there. 44 large eggs equivalent of vitamin D. 85 medium bananas of B6. Like, we go through a lot of bananas in my house, but probably not 85 a day. So that is the kind of amounts of food we need to eat a day to get the right amount, the optimal amount of vitamins and minerals to remain healthy. So most health supplements are falling far short, excuse me, I'm tongue-tied, of meeting the nutritional needs of our body cells. So that's said by Dr. Myron Wentz. So most people are like, well, who's this man and why can he say this? So who's Dr. Myron Wentz? Well, he's actually the founder of USANA. So I don't know if any of you know someone or have personally had, say, glandular fever, chronic fatigue, or hopefully not AIDS, but he's the gentleman that made the test kits in hospitals that actually diagnose those illnesses. So they're called the Epstein-Barr virus kits, and they're still used in hospitals today. So Dr. Myron Wentz actually owned Gull Laboratories, and that is where he made those test kits. But unfortunately, his mum died of breast cancer. his dad died of heart disease, and his brother died from a stroke. So let's think about this. This man is well renowned in the health industry. He's able to diagnose diseases, but yet he loses the 3 closest people in his life. So he made a decision to sell Gull Labs and to look more into disease prevention. And that's where USANA was invented. So we've been around for 22 years now. We're in over 19 countries. And Dr. Myron Wentz in 2007 actually won an Albert Einstein Award for Life Sciences. So that's a very prestigious award, and only 2 people in history have ever won that award. So that's how big his impact has been on the health industry. Now, let me paint a picture for you. The essentials which I showed you before, he actually made that into a soup and fed the cells in the laboratory for over 30 years to keep the cells alive. So he had cells exposed to air, and he nourished them using the essentials. The cells lived for over 30 years. Now, just so you understand how amazing this is, his closest competitor, 14 hours. So quite a big difference, as I'm sure you've realized. So this is his vision. It's, I dream of a world free from pain and suffering and free from disease. So what he wants is the USANA family to be the healthiest family on earth, to love life and live it to its fullest in happiness and health. Because let's face it, a lot of us are living longer lives, aren't we? But the last 10, 20, 30 years, what kind of quality of life are we having? You know, people have cancer, people have arthritis, you know, people have like severe back pain, where the end part of their life is actually not really in the highest of quality. And that's what he's saying, we're living longer, but we're dying longer. And that's what he wants to fight against. Now, Dr. Myron Wentz is actually a philanthropist, so he makes no money from USANA. All money made goes back into reformulating the products and making sure the best they can be, and also paying the distributors who go and spread the word by word of mouth. Because at the end of the day, Dr. Myron Wentz is a scientist, not a marketer. So he had no idea how to get these products out on the shelf. And what he realized was that if he did go and put them in a supermarket or on the shelf, not everyone would be able to afford them, because you've got the middleman and then retail, where we're able to sell all the products at wholesale prices, which is pretty amazing. Oh, and also if I just go back for a moment, he actually has a Wentz Medical Center. So in Uganda, Cambodia, he has a medical center where he gives children free medical treatment and free vitamins. So why is USANA so different? Well, our supplements are made to a pharmaceutical grade. Now, if you're thinking, wow, what's that? We're made to the same level as a Panadol. So every single tablet is made exactly the same. We're tested 400 times a day, every 8 minutes. So if you're thinking, okay, well then what's, say, your Blackmores, your Swiss, and everything else that you find on the shelf? That's actually a food grade, and it's not regulated. So what that means is you can have up to a 15% buffer of what it says on the packaging to what's actually in there. A few weeks ago, I was actually at a business launch here in Sydney, and a police officer actually said that on a night that the shifts were really quiet, they actually went in and tested all the vitamins themselves in a machine that they have to decipher what drugs are. They said most of the vitamins that were made to a food grade came back as onion salt. So that is how unregulated the market is. So we choose to be a pharmaceutical grade so we can have our products regulated and tested and know that they are always at the highest standard. So down here in the bottom corner, this is our potency guarantee. Dr. Myron Wentz signs every single bottle so people know that what they're getting is actually what's written on the packaging. So our ingredients are all superior and sourced from the best places around the world, but everything's made in-house in Salt Lake City. Now, some people say, why Salt Lake City? That is the best environment to make supplementation. Now, it's all backed by an accredited team of scientists, and we also have an athlete guarantee. So we have over 650 elite athletes, so Olympic athletes and world-renowned athletes on these products, and guess what? None of them get paid. They all choose to take these products. Some of them have been offered quite big deals to take other products and recommend them, and they've actually turned it down to stay taking USANA and not be paid. So I think that shows the quality of our products. So here over on the right-hand side, we've got Dr. Lyle McWilliam. Now, he's actually a biochemist that was recruited by the Canadian government. So they asked him to go and test 2,000 supplements. Yes, 2,000, to find out what the quality was like. Now, they'll test it across 18 different criterias, and then he published a book. Now, this book is republished every 2 years. So every company has a chance to reformulate their products and make them better. Now, I don't know if any of you take supplements, but if you want to, get Hayden to shoot me across an inbox message, and afterwards I can tell you how your supplements rate. But USANA has been ranked #1 for the past 13 years, 5 stars. So 5 out of 5 stars, editor's choice. Now, just remember, guys, everyone has a chance to rerun. Everyone has a chance to, have their supplements retested. And unfortunately, most still continue to put all their money into advertising. Now, we've got essentials for adults, teenagers, and children. I've had my son on the Usanimals since he was 3 months old, and also the BioOmega Junior, which is like fish oil for children, because it's so important that children have nourished cells, so when a growth spurt comes, they're ready to, they've got all the vitamins and minerals waiting there so they can grow to their full potential. Now, wouldn't you agree that your health and my health, completely different? So what you might be looking for is different to what Hayden and Anthony are looking for, right? So that's why we've got a full range of optimizers so we can customize everyone's health. Now, weight loss. I see most ladies' ears prick up when I come to weight loss. Now, I'm a self-professed someone that has done a lot of dieting in the past. When I left school and went into uni, I was all excited not to have my packed lunches every day and put on 15 kilos pretty quickly. So, yep, was pretty devastated when none of my clothes fit all of a sudden. So I tried a lot of different weight loss things. And what I found was, as soon as I came off them, my weight went back up again. So it was not something I was able to maintain. I started yo-yoing constantly. I actually needed 2 wardrobes, to be completely honest with you. Since taking the USANA products and taking the supplementation, I've lost 18 kilos. But the best part is I kept it all off. So I haven't had any fad dieting, crash dieting. My cravings actually went away. A lot of people tell me at 3 o'clock when they're at work, they're craving a chocolate. And hey, I can relate to that because when I used to work, I was exactly the same. Now, if you're craving something like chocolate, it's normally because your body's lacking magnesium. Now, a lot of the feedback I get from people that are on the shakes, the bars, and the vitamins is that their cravings have gone away, that they no longer want chocolate. And it's because their body's nourished. So these are all certified low GI products. So they're safe for diabetics. They won't give you that sugar spike where you go up and come crashing down like when you have a Freddo Frog. So they're all completely safe. And yeah, I found them really effective in weight loss. So we've also got a healthy energy drink alternative because there are so many people out there drinking energy drinks. Now, these people are just craving energy, which is so sad. But what they don't realize is they're damaging their heart. You can actually enlarge your heart from drinking energy drinks and their neuron receptors. So it blocks your brain. Neuron blockers. So it's really, really dangerous to energy drinks. So Dr. Morrowent's formulated a natural one, and it's got things like ginseng, green tea, L-carnitine, which is a natural fat burner. Now it comes in a can and also in a sachet. So you can either add it to water or have it from the can. It's up to you. And it's also got the same sugar as 1.5 apples. Now, if you see the sugar content of these other cans, that's ridiculously high. Now, these are just the regular cans. When I stopped at a set of lights last week and looked around, I was seeing people drinking these massive 500 ml cans of Mother. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so dangerous. Now, this is my favorite slide. It's the skincare. I love the skincare. And I know boys love skincare too, but they're just really shy to admit it. So when I met my fiance, he had really, really terrible skin. It was red raw, and he had like cysts growing underneath it and a lot of acne scars. Now, he was actually in the picture in the beginning, and I don't know if you noticed, but his skin wasn't red raw, and there is simply no scarring all over his face anymore. He was been taking the vitamins for about 3 years now, and when I met him and looked at his skin, I'm like, babe, we've got to do something about this. Like, he was so embarrassed. He didn't want to go out. He always wore a baseball cap so people couldn't see his face. So we popped him on the skincare, and we upped his vitamins, and we had amazing results. So he hasn't had to have any more surgery on his face to remove cysts from his face, which was, you know, so embarrassing for a young man. He has no more redness. His face isn't red. And what it is our skin is a reflection of our insides. So if we care for our insides, then it shows on our outsides. Now, we have a completely paraben-free range. Now, for anyone sitting there going, I have no idea what a paraben is, in the 1960s, our amazing government decided to use parabens as a preservative in skincare, hair care, and makeup. Now, that's now been linked to breast cancer. 9 out of 10 women that have been found to have breast cancer have actually found parabens in their breast cancer tissue. So yes, the preservative actually sits in fatty tissues and causes cancer, but yet it's still in a lot of products, including Johnson & Johnson's baby care. So please check your products before using them, because it is really dangerous. Now, any men sitting there thinking, oh, well, that doesn't really concern me, it kind of does. Because we also did some tests on men and read some studies, and what it showed was men that washed their hair in regular shampoo and conditioner, just off the shelf, that contained parabens, it came out 10 minutes later in their urine. So it actually ended up decreasing their sperm count, and that was the same for male babies as well. So ours is completely natural. It's got a shelf life of 2 years, and it's chemical free, which is pretty cool. Now, here's some celebrities that take our products. So we've got Mel B, Paris Hilton, Samuel L. Jackson. Now, all these people take the products, and none of which get paid. Now, athletes. We've got so many athletes on these products. So we've got the Women's Tennis Association. So Serena Williams, Sam Stosur, Kim Clijsters. Now, the Women's Tennis Association only allows the people to take USANA. So all the athletes can only take USANA products. That's all they're allowed to take. And we've just had our contract extended for another 3 years because they've been so happy with the results. So we've got people like Michael Johnson, Derek Parra, Timothy Bradley, Manny Pacquiao. So a lot of the boxers are actually on the products, and they actually promote them and recommend them as well. So normally when I get to hear, most people are like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. So how have these guys made this into a business? So I'm going to take you through that now. So first I want to take you into a little bit of today's financial reality. So here is a study that shows college graduates, so 100 of them, from when they graduated to the age of 65. So on average, 95% became employees. Now, I actually studied at uni, and I know not for one day did I ever dream of being an employee for the rest of my life. I dreamt of having a big business, changing the world, traveling, all wonderful things like that. Now, reality being, 95% of people in this study actually ended up being an employee. But 5% were able to actually be business investors, so they actually got to work for themselves. Of that 5%, 1% became wealthy, so a net worth of $2 million, and 4% became financially free, so $100,000 plus a year. Now, in Australia, most people live paycheck to paycheck and have an average household credit card debt of over $15,000, which is quite a lot of money. Now, of these students, 5% at the age of 65 still had not retired. 36% had actually died from the stress and health-related illnesses, which we discussed earlier, and 54% were dead broke and on family and government assistance. So let me ask you, has anyone thought about retirement there? Most young people say, no, but I think about it for my parents. Well, for me, I actually realized how important retirement was when after watching my dad work in traditional business for my whole life. He had probably 12 months of retirement and had to go back to work, simply because his super was sucked out of, pretty much from under him, and yeah, he realized he no longer had the funds to retire. My dad is 73 and still working. Yes, he has his own business now, but you know, if he can't work or there's no work, you know, he doesn't get paid. And that's actually one of my goals, to retire both my parents so they can actually enjoy their life. Because it kind of gets to a point where you think, wow, you're working for your whole life. When do you actually get to enjoy it? So on average, guys, Australians spend 112% of what they earn every single year. Only 9.1% of Australians will self-fund their retirement. Yes, that's 9.1, not 91. So less than 10% of us will be able to fund our own retirement. So average super for males is about $150K by the time they retire, which is about $7,500 a year, and ladies, it's a lot less for us. So the worst part is 25% of Australians have not 1 single cent in super. So what's going to happen with most of us? So here's a little bit deeper into today's financial reality. Let's look at $70,000. So $70,000, we minus our tax, and we're left with a net income of $52,840 a year. Monthly, $4,404. Now let's face it, everyone wants to own their own home, right? No one wants to be renting for the rest of their life. So let's say we have a mortgage. Let's say $500,000 at 6.7% over 30 years. So a month we're paying just over $3,200 just for our mortgage. Now we go and buy a nice, safe family car, $30,000 at 5% for 5 years. So it's not going to get you a Ferrari, but it will get you a decent family car. $580 a month for your car loan. $400 for on-road expenses. So that's rego, insurance, and petrol per month. I think that's pretty generous. Then we've got $300 a month for food. Now I spend that a week. $350 for home utilities. $200 for entertainment. So pretty much you have to decide whether you'd like to go for dinner on your lonesome, because you probably couldn't afford to take a partner at $50 unless you were heading over to McDonald's, or going for drinks with your mates just one night this week, because you probably couldn't afford to do 2 on a budget of $25 a night, right? So then you've got your mobile bill of $80. So most people are sitting at minus $734 a month. So people are living in the red. So let's just hope they have plenty of savings, they don't want children, they have no pre-existing debt, and they never ever want to take a holiday, because guess what? They can't. So when I get to hear people kind of like scratching their head and going, oh, F my life, where am I at, what am I going to do? So would you agree that we're taught at school, go to school, study hard, get good grades, go to uni, work hard for the rest of your life? That's what I was taught. But let's be honest, do you think an honest 9-to-5 job is really going to be what designs the life you've dreamed of? Because honestly, jobs are great, but who wants to do that for the rest of their life? And let's look at, for the years that you've worked in a job, how far you've actually got and what you've achieved in your life, and actually what you'd like to achieve moving forward. Because I know I kind of came to a stage in my life where I kind of thought, okay, yeah, I've been working for 8 years now, and I'm not exactly where I thought I'd be. And if I don't do something different, I'm going to keep getting what I've got, right? So that's where I decided, okay, well, jobs are great. I can see how much I'm getting each week, but it's not the way I want to spend the rest of my life. So boys, who doesn't love nice cars? And yes, ladies do too. I was very fortunate that about 6 months ago I was able to purchase my dream car. I was very lucky. I had a gorgeous little Golf, which I loved. And one day it literally just stopped working. And so we had to pretty much buy a car within a couple of days. And we're very fortunate that through the business we could buy it, through that, and we were able to get the car that, we desired. So we were really, really blessed. Where I know a lot of people I speak to say, well, my car broke down and, I don't know what I'm going to do, because they don't really have a financial option of going and buying another car. Beautiful homes. I know growing up I used to watch the OC and look at these homes and think, oh my gosh, they're amazing. How do people afford these? Well, then I realized they're all working for themselves. I look at this picture and think, wow, that thing hanging off the roof, that's amazing. Who wouldn't love something just hanging off the roof just for the sake of it, just because you can afford it? And the house looks like it's placed on a gorgeous cliff, but you wouldn't want to have too much to drink, because there looks like a point where you could just tumble off if you weren't too careful. People dream of these homes, and what I say to people, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. Nothing in life is impossible. So many people are told to be realistic when they dream and want something bigger than everyone else. Guys, I'm here to tell you that anything can be done. If you're willing to work, this business is something that completely can work for you and transform your life, like it did for me and many, many others. Now, who doesn't want to travel? Say 2 holidays for 6 months each. So many people long to travel, but they just don't have the time and the money to do it. Imagine if you could be paid to travel, or have residual income coming through to travel. So let's look at today's financial reality. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. I can't tell you how many times I've asked my friends to come out for dinner or let's go and do something, and they say, oh, I don't get paid till next week, maybe I'll come then because I can't afford it today. I'm like, wow, we're heading for 28 and people are still living week to week. People saddled with massive debt, so they've got bills coming in that they can't afford to pay. And here's the biggest one. People work 4 to 6 months a year just to pay taxes. Now, I was actually having a conversation with my fiance, Dave, as at the moment we're in transition for working to retire Dave. And I said to him, how was work this week? He goes, well, it was a 4-day week, and, I've done 20 hours overtime. I'm like, oh, awesome, you'll get a pretty good paycheck. And he's like, no, most of my overtime went to tax. I'm like, oh, all right, okay, no worries. I'm like, so we worked it out that Monday and Tuesday, he's driving to work, and his pay went to the tax agency. But the good news is, after lunchtime on Wednesday, he actually got to put some in his pocket. Now, that's reality. That is how much of pay is actually going to the tax agent. That's a lot. So you're working to give your money to someone else. So has anyone heard of Robert Kiyosaki? So the cash flow quadrant. Now, this guy's amazing. He actually is one of the big influencers that made me make a decision to change from employee to having my own business. So I'm going to take you through this. So here on the left-hand side, we've got employee and self-employed. So on the other side, we've got big business builder and investor. So if we look at the left-hand side, we've got 90% of the world's population are actually employees and self-employed. So they trade their own time for money, right? So 90% of the world's population, how much money do they earn? Only 10% of the world's wealth. Then we move over to the other side. We've got 10% of the world's population and 90% of the world's welfare. These people use money in networks to make money. So after seeing this, I was like, okay, so I'm working really hard in a job. I'm a hard worker. If you ask something, do something, I'm honest. But I'm really not getting ahead, and I could see why. I was in the wrong quadrant. So through sharing and recommending these products, I managed to move myself over to the big business builder and investor quadrant. Now, yes, that is where the money is, but money isn't my driving factor. Money is simply an accelerator. If you've got more money, you can do so much more good in the world. And yes, it works on the other end of the scale as well. So if you got a lot of money, you can do a lot of bad with it. It all depends on what kind of person you are. But for me, I saw this as a way that I'd be able to help my family, help my grandmother who lives on a pension, help retire my parents. You just got to remember that, yes, some people see money as a negative thing. It all comes down to mindset. But guys, if you've got money, there is a lot of fantastic things you can do to help other people. So there are two different types of income, linear and residual. So linear is you work 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. You don't work, guess what? You don't get paid. And then you've got residual income. So what residual income is, has anyone there seen Twilight? So Stephanie Meyer, right? She wrote that book once. Every time that book is sold, she gets paid. Our business works exactly the same. When I started doing Usana 2.5 years ago and I had people starting on the products, they still take the products today. So every single week, I still get paid. It's residual income. Now, God forbid anything ever happened to myself or Dave, I know Cruise financially would be okay because my business is residual, which means my pay will still keep coming in even if I'm not here. Now, in saying that, when I had Cruise, I took 4 months off, where I just took a step back from the business and really just, stayed at home and just took phone calls from people already in the business if they really needed me. For those 4 months, I got paid every single week, some weeks bigger than the week before. Now, that's residual income. So the power of a home-based business. So yes, I get to work from home and it's fantastic. I also get to do a lot of traveling. So I actually get married in 16 days. Oh, that's really close. 16 days, and our honeymoon is actually in America and Mexico. Now that is where the business is because we're in 19 countries and still expanding. And we're actually able to claim that on the business because we're actually going to, speak to people about the business while we're there. So our whole honeymoon is actually tax deduction. Now there's other tax write-offs. So the products I take, and when I started my business, everything, they actually are tax write-offs. They're classed as advertising because you can't recommend something which you're not taking, right? Also, my phone bill, my internet, all things like that, bills I have to pay anyway, they now are classed as tax write-offs. Why? Because I need them to run my business. So it just means more money in my pocket. This is also my retirement plan. This business has given me what I value most, and that's time freedom. Some of my friends have missed, moments in their child's life, like milestone moments, because they had to go back to work to pay their mortgages. And I think, wow, like we're living in homes we can't afford. We're driving gorgeous cars to work that, sit in car parks all day. And we're missing the most, important things in, our children, our families' lives. So time freedom is my biggest driving factor. And I feel so lucky that I've never had to miss a thing and a moment with my son based on being able to do this business and help other people do the same. So who believes in network marketing? When I went to start this business, my friends are like, Jade, you're going to do something different than us? They're like, that's not going to work. That's a scam. That's a pyramid. Like, as if you're going to do that. I was like, you know what, guys? We all sit around and mope and complain about the things we don't like in life. But, the difference is I'm willing to try something different. I don't want to spend the rest of my life like this. So from the time that I started to now, my life has changed dramatically. I've been fortunate enough to able to buy 2 properties, lots of lovely things that I wasn't able to afford before, help a lot of people, donate to charities, and my friends are all in the same position. They're still complaining they hate their jobs. They're still looking, for the next big thing. They couldn't even afford to come to my hands. Now, what does that tell you? I'm really glad I didn't listen to broke people because they're not in a position I want to be in. So this company has, changed my life. And it's people like Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett that all endorse this kind of work. Now, Donald Trump was asked on daytime TV, what would you do if you lost absolutely everything? Now, we all know Donald Trump's lost everything. How many times? Not once, but twice. He said, I'd find a good network marketing company and get to work. Now, the audience actually laughed at him. And he said, but that's why I sit up here and you sit down there. And when I heard that, I was like, wow. So, yeah, my friends had a chuckle at me in the beginning, but I guess I kind of got the last laugh. So, how many ways do you get to earn in your job? 1, maybe 2? We in Usana, we're fortunate enough to get to earn 6 different ways. So we've got retail sales. So you buy the products at wholesale and you sell them at retail. Weekly commissions. So each product has a point value. So say the products that, we as a team move through the business, we get paid off that every Friday. Our commissions go into our bank account. Then my favorite one is lifetime matching bonus. So I don't know if you have ever had to train someone at work, either train them in your role or to learn new skills. And if your boss has ever said to you, you know what, Hayden, you did such a good job, I'm going to pay you 15% of what they earn every single week as a bonus to say thank you for training them. Now you're probably thinking, wow, are you nuts, Jay? Like, no boss would ever say that. When I actually met with a man today, he's like, impossible. I'm like, well, actually, here at Usana, if we're able to help people and coach them, and we actually get paid 15% of what they earn every single week, paid by the company to us as a thank you for helping them. So that's pretty amazing. We've also got a fantastic incentive program. So Amy, my sister-in-law, she just got back from a 10-day cruise around China on a Caribbean cruise. She got to take her partner, all expenses paid, and she got to also have $1,000 spending money, which is pretty cool. I got back from Melbourne maybe 2.5 months ago. Usana paid for me to go to Melbourne and do a coaching course so I could better my skills and better help people, achieve their goals and what they want to do with life. So the company is fantastic. It's very giving and lots of luxury things up there for people that want to work. Now, just like anything, when we start something new, we're really wobbly. We're on our L's. We're really bad drivers. We have no idea what we're doing. But guess what, guys? We all started in that position. I'm no different to you. When I first started, I had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. All trainings provided. The company provides amazing training programs. Plus, you've got us. So we do lots of things, over the internet, as we're based all around Australia and, other countries too. But we've also got a lot of face-to-face training and things that we do with you too. So, a lot of on-the-job training. So we teach you how to do everything we do. Now, network marketing is booming. So one person joins this industry every 6 minutes. Now, I've been told if you're not networking in the next 50 years, you simply won't be working. Now, all we have to do is look at things like Woolworths and Coles and see how they're, moving away from hiring more, I guess you call them checkout chicks, or guys for that matter, more into having, electronic scanning. Let's face it, you can self-serve yourself. The machine doesn't have a sick day, it doesn't need annual leave, and it doesn't come with attitude. So, that looks like how people are moving. Less overheads, And yeah, so they're phasing people out and looking for more technology. So it's really important that we have all bases covered. So this business kind of works like, I'm sure most of you would have Facebook, right? And when you open your Facebook for the first time, you had no friends. Now how many do you have? Lots. Now tell me, on a Monday morning, how many people do you see complaining about work? And I'm sure it's just not on a Monday. It's on a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday, and then when Friday comes, then we do it all over again on Monday. Bring back the weekend. That's an opportunity to help people that are looking for change. So it's simply combining like online shopping and your network that you already got. So we've all got a network. We've all got family and friends that either want to lose weight, want more time, want more money. And it's simply about sharing it with them. So we share and recommend. Because if you don't do it, someone else will. Now, all this really is we're just designing our own lives. So through sharing, recommending nutritional products, we get to design our own lives, which is fantastic. So I thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than willing to jump on Skype in my PJs and have a chat with you. I hope you've all enjoyed tonight, and thank you so much for coming and supporting Anthony. So thank you guys. Speak to you soon. Bye.